The most important design of this decade was never meant to be seen. It has no color palette, no typeface, no grid. It was built by people who do not call themselves designers, inside companies that do not sell design, for users who will never know it exists. And it is shaping more human behavior per hour than every Bauhaus building, every corporate rebrand, and every award-winning campaign combined. We tend to imagine design as something with edges, a logo, a layout, a building you walk into. But the systems governing what billions of people see, feel, and do on their screens were not drawn. They were modeled, tested in thousands of simultaneous variations, refined against metrics that have nothing to do with beauty and everything to do with compulsion. The person who designed your morning was not a designer. They were a cognitive scientist, and you will never see their work, because their work is the reason you didn't look away. There is a clean lineage that nobody talks about cleanly enough. Modernist design, the Bauhaus, the Swiss style, Massimo Vignelli's subway maps, all operated on a single premise. Form follows function. The designer serves the user through clarity. You see the grid, you understand the system. The design announces itself because transparency is the point. Then Don Norman publishes The Design of Everyday Things in 1988 and mainstreams cognitive psychology in design. But the goal is still usability. The door handle should communicate whether to push or pull. The interface should make the right action obvious. The user is still the beneficiary. Something fractures around 2006. Asa Raskin is widely credited with inventing infinite scroll. He later publicly regrets it. Harry Brignall coins the term dark patterns in 2010 to describe interfaces designed to trick users into actions they didn't intend. The designer's allegiance has shifted, not to the user, not even to beauty, to the company's growth metrics. But these manipulations were still visible if you knew where to look. A hidden unsubscribe button is deceptive, but it is identifiable. You can point at it and say, "That is designed to deceive me." The current era is different because you cannot point at anything. The cognitive scientist's contribution is not a button, a layout, or a color. It is the behavioral architecture underneath, the sequence of micro-decisions the system makes before you make yours. TikTok's For You page is the clearest example. The interface is almost nothing. Dark background, minimal chrome, one video, full screen, swipe up. There is barely anything to design in the traditional sense because the design is the algorithm. Within 40 minutes of a brand new user opening the app, the system has built a feed so precisely calibrated to that person's attention patterns that they cannot stop watching. The container has disappeared, only the compulsion remains. This is where the economics become architectural. Cognitive scientist Gloria Mark has documented that average screen attention before switching tasks has collapsed from 2.5 minutes in 2004 to just 47 seconds today. Digital notifications are the primary driver. That is not a communication trend. That is a restructuring of human cognitive rhythm, engineered by systems designed to interrupt. Georgetown Law's Denny Center calls these systems cognitive toll gates, architectures where you must play by the platform's opaque rules to be seen, heard, or remembered. The word matters. Tollgate implies a built structure. Someone constructed it. Someone profits from every passage through it, and the profits follow the language. Industry practitioners now call attention infrastructure, not metaphorically, literally. The foundation on which ad delivery, brand visibility, and content distribution are built. Infrastructure implies planning, engineering, monopoly. When you hire a behavioral economist instead of a graphic designer, you are not optimizing a layout, you are building a tollway. Platform job listings prove this with uncomfortable directness. Meta, TikTok, Google, and Snap recruit for cognitive science, behavioral science, and decision science backgrounds in product design roles. These are public postings, architectural blueprints filed in plain sight. The genius of the system is that even its alternatives reproduce it. Calm and Headspace present as antidotes to attention hijacking. Wellness apps wrapped in soft gradients and serif fonts and nature sounds. But open Calm and you find streak counters, push notifications, personalized recommendations, gamified progress. Calm's daily Calm streak is psychologically identical to Snapchat's streak feature. Different costume, same compulsion loop. The visual language of resistance has been absorbed into the architecture it claims to resist, because the architecture is not visual, it is behavioral. You can change every pixel and keep every mechanism. Google understood this with Material You in 2021. Frame personalization as empowerment. Your phone adapts its color palette to your wallpaper. The interface feels like self-expression. And when it feels like self-expression, you stop asking who designed it and why. You stop noticing that posting content takes 2 taps while controlling your data takes 11. That friction differential is not a bug. It is an architectural decision as deliberate as the placement of a cathedral's altar, designed to route movement in one direction and make the alternative feel like effort. But here is what complicates this, and it should complicate it. Algorithmic feeds do surface relevant content. Google Maps does get you where you are going. Spotify's Discover Weekly has introduced millions of people to music they genuinely love. The argument is not that all behavioral architecture is malicious. The individual responsibility counter-argument is not empty either. People do make choices. People do put down their phones. The honest version of this argument is narrower, and because it is narrower, harder to dismiss. The problem is not the technology. The problem is the opacity. When the most consequential design decisions in your daily life are invisible by intention, you lose the ability to distinguish between architecture that serves you and architecture that extracts from you. You cannot evaluate a system you cannot perceive. And you cannot perceive a system that was specifically engineered to be imperceptible. That is not a design philosophy. It is an asymmetry of knowledge so total that the word user starts to feel generous. Powerful design used to announce itself. Cathedrals announce themselves. Propaganda posters announce themselves. The Coca-Cola logo, every corporate tower on every skyline, every flag on every government building, all of it announced the same thing. I was designed. I have an author. I have an intent. The new power does not announce. It does not need to. It works in the back end, in the feed logic, in the notification timing calibrated to the exact moment your attention is most vulnerable. The most important design question of this era is not what does it look like. It is whether you can tell you are inside it at all. And if you spent this morning reaching for your phone before your feet touched the floor, you already have your answer. So here is what I want to know. The last time you opened an app with a specific intention, how many minutes passed before you were doing something else entirely? And did you notice the moment the architecture took over, or only the moment you surfaced from it? You already know the answer. The next time you swipe without thinking, remember that someone thought about that moment for months, optimized it across 10,000 variations, and built it so you would never feel their hand. This is the threads of culture.